reason there's so many Vatican II Catholics, because there are about 200,000 set of a contest, I think is what they call them. There's about 2,000 of them, that 200,000 that believe that the Pope seat is vacant, and that Vatican II was a farce, it was false. And so there are those Catholics. So let me be very clear. But they're a minority. They're only 0.5% of all Catholics, right? The rest of the 99.95% of the Catholics believe that they believe that they worship the same God as Muslims, which is pretty much Allah. So let's hear what Sam Shamoun had to say about Allah back then.
So if Baal-zebub is the ruler of demons, then that means that's another name for Satan. So that means Baal is simply Satan appearing as a god in order to mislead people from worshiping the true God. Now, if that's true, Allah is simply another name for Baal, and Islam is simply another form of Baal worship, then that actually further confirms Islam is the religion of the devil. It's Satan's religion that Satan inspired through Muhammad to be the competitor against Judeo-Christianity. And that would make sense, right? Because all throughout Old Testament history, the chief competitor to Yahweh was Baal. Right now, as we speak, the chief competitor, the chief religion competing for the devotion of the hearts and minds of not just the world, but of Jews and Christians is Islam. So it's like history repeating itself, the same lie, the same deceit, the same trickery being promoted throughout the ages, but under different disguises, repackaged. That doesn't mean Muslims know they're worshiping Baal. That's the deception. That's the deceit. Fact number one, Hubal was the chief deity, the chief god of Mecca and of the shrine, the Kaaba. Fact number two, Hubal was actually Baal. Hubal, and the Muslim sources will testify, was actually the Arabic name for Baal. Some people believe Hubal either comes from Hubal, he is Baal, two Arabic words, or it is an Arabicized corruption of the Hebrew words Ha-Baal, the Baal. The third fact, the sources don't come out and say it, but that's the logical, necessary inference. Hubal was Allah, Allah was Hubal. If you read, quote unquote, between the lines, you're going to see Hubal was Allah, Allah was Hubal. Mecca, according to the Muslim sources, is the place where Muhammad was born, the Quraysh tribe, which was an Arab tribe that lived in Mecca. And according to the Muslim sources, he admits that the Arabs before Muhammad and during the time Muhammad were into astral worship, where they worshiped the sun and moon and 5 planets.
All right, so you guys just heard it from the horse's mouth. Muslims serve Baal. Okay? You guys heard it. You guys heard it very clearly. Muslims worship Baal. Okay? So if that's who Muslims worship and Catholics worship Allah, okay? Because they have the same God as Muslims, and Muslims worship Baal, then Catholics worship the devil by the logical conclusion. Now, do I believe that, let me go off the record, and I made this clear. Do I believe that Catholics worship the devil? No, I do not. But if we're going to go according to their manuscripts, they do worship the devil. So let me put it to you this way. Their writings make them have to worship the devil because they can't disagree with it. They cannot disagree with it. So they have to accept that the writing says they have the same God as Allah. They have to accept it. Now, I just think that the writing is wrong. So in my point of reference, I just simply say this. I say, look, when it comes to the Catholic writings, that particular writing is wrong. And they don't worship the same God as Allah. That's what I say. But if you're going to be consistent, Catholics worship the same God as the Muslims. And if they worship the same God as the Muslims, then they're worshiping the devil by definition, because Allah is a devil. It's not the same God as the triune God that we serve. So there's an issue there. Either you're going to have to denounce, the Second Council, or I would say the second,
Vatican II.
yeah, thank you. You're going to have to deny Vatican II, and what you can't do that. Now, all these guys can do is laugh, but they can't do anything else. So that's all they can do. All they can do is laugh, but they can't do anything else. So I am well within my rights to say that Catholics worship Allah. And Allah is the devil. And if Allah is the devil, then Catholics worship the devil. If I'm going to go through their reference points and their writings. Furthermore, proving that Catholicism is a disgusting satanic religion. Furthermore, proving that. Why? Because again, I don't worship Allah. And this all makes a lot of sense because their former pope said that all religions lead to God. Well, now that makes perfect sense. Now that makes 100% sense. It's no wonder. We all have the same God, don't we? Muslims and Hindus and everybody, we all have the same God.
Man, you still there? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I'm here, brother. I'm here. Just give me a second. My dog is manifesting.
No worries.
But go ahead. Now, this guy said JP's a Muslim apologist. Really? I am. How am I a Muslim apologist? I believe in the triune God. You believe in Allah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of contention around a lot of things Francis said. I mean, there's a lot of explaining that had to be done for what he said. I mean, you could even look at just the backlash by something we've talked about recently when he said all religions lead to God. I mean, as soon as he said all religions lead to God, everybody was trying to come out and pope-splain. I mean, I remember Trent Horn trying to say his piece. I remember others trying to say their piece. So let's not act like, you know what I mean, this hasn't been some struggle. But here's what I would like to do. Shout out to all the Catholics who say, you know what, we don't serve the same God. Respect to you. I don't know what you do with your documents, but respect to you.
But they do, brother. They do. You see, whether you like it or not, they do. Because regardless, if the document was written infallibly, right? And there's no potential for it to be fallible, and they say we don't worship the same God, they still do because they're married to that writing. So regardless, they are worshipers of a different God because it's not my God. They worship Allah. So even if this is the Catholic dilemma, even if you say, I don't worship Allah, you say it's not the same God. Lumen Satanism says that it is the same God. So regardless, no shout out to them because unless they denounce the writing and say, I'm not going to be Vatican II, I'm going to be Vatican I and say the Vatican II is a garbage Vatican. Unless they say that, I don't care how many times a Catholic tells me they don't worship the same God, because you do. Whether you like it or not, you do, or you're going to have to denounce your writings. This is the Catholic dilemma. We have the Quranic dilemma. We have the Catholic dilemma. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care how much they kick and fight. They have the same God. Now, according to Otis, you don't believe in Allah. That's because you're leaning Orthodox, leaning Catholic. I can't hold you to anything because you're not a Catholic, you're not an Orthodox. But if you become officially a Catholic, my friend, you worship Allah. But I can't hold you to that right now. Go ahead, humble servant, cook.
No, I was just going to say that the issue comes in, even if you say, you reject Vatican II, which I don't know how you do these things as a Catholic, but let's just say you do. The issue comes in is, how do you reject papal teaching? Like, what basis can you reject papal teaching? That would be my question to any Catholic, when popes have literally said you worship the same God. So like that's where the problems start coming in. I mean, it's just kind of interesting to me. Like, because even if the Pope is not teaching, according to Lumen Gentium, right? Even if the Pope's not teaching infallibly, you still got to listen to him. So now we don't have to worry about infallibility. We just have to worry about what he's teaching. If all these things he's teaching, then what is it?
I mean, bro, you know how many times I've debated Muslims and they say that they say that I'm a polytheist. They don't believe in the Trinity. They don't believe in anything. They don't believe in anything that
Right.
we believe in. They don't believe Jesus is God. They don't believe again in the Trinity. I don't think they really believe in the Holy Spirit being a person. So they don't believe in these things. And yet we're going to say we worship the same God or we have the same God? Absolutely not. How do we say that we have the same God when their God is a whole different, complete different thing from what we serve? How could you say that? To me, it's very simple. This right here single-handedly destroys Catholicism, destroys it. I mean, you have people saying, yeah, we have the same God as Allah. Really? Allah is the devil. Allah is the devil.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny we're here, right? Now that this has hit mainstream, right? Now that people have been talking about this, I can remember this guy, a guy by the name of Alton Johnson. He was talking about Hebrew Israelites. I can't remember how many months ago this was, but he said if the Hebrew Israelites, he warned everybody about them cleaning up all this stuff that was problematic, and he put out the same warning to Roman Catholics. And about 6 months later or so, here we are. Here we are. Now everybody's realizing what they teach. And what are you going to do when the Pope says you worship the same God?
Look at this satanic pagan worshiper. Now it feels good because that's what they are. Look at this satanic pagan worshiper. It feels so good to actually say that, and it's actually true. Because he is a satanic pagan worshiper. You worship Allah, E.T. You're a satanic pagan worshiper. May the Lord rebuke you, you satanic pagan worshiper. And you know what's good? That's actually true. They are satanic pagan worshipers at the logical conclusion because they have the same God as the Muslims.
Yeah, I just don't know how you justify this sort of thing to yourself. Like, what is it that would make you say, especially if you have any knowledge of the Quran, okay, and the Bible, why would you actually say that you both worship the same God? I just don't understand this. I don't understand how you would get there if you read the literature.
Now we have people saying that we haven't read it in context.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's not a context in which one can say we have the same God as Allah. There's not a context in which we can say that. There's not a single context in the universe where we can say we have the same God as the identified Allah. Because there was a guy that tried to bring me to Acts where there was a paragraph that spoke about the unknown God that some people were serving. Let's be very clear. Allah is an identified God. He is identified. He has characteristics. He has a book. He has hadiths. He has followers, prophets, all of these things. Allah is identified. So it's
oh man, hold on. I'm sorry. There's a quote, there's a comment that just hit the screen. Can you put it on the screen, Freeze? It says, watch Tim cast, even he understands. Can you put that comment on the screen for me, brother?
Yeah.
All right, now you see that? Now see, this is how I know people don't pay attention to what the work we do. It says, watch Timcast, even he understands what it is saying. It never says the word same ever. You know what? Let's take a look. Maybe nowhere in any writing does it say that we believe in the same God.
Humble servant, pull it up in the screen, but this is where we give these guys the whooping, because this is a whooping. You see, this is what I'm saying. I say Catholics are my kids, but I don't want you guys to be my kids anymore because you guys are sons of Satan. So if you guys are my kids, then that makes me Satan himself. So I cannot call you guys my kids because you guys are sons of Satan. You guys are sons of Allah. You know, that's the God you worship. So now we're going to pull this up real quick. So Christians and Muslims, we have many things in common. As believers, as human beings, we live in the same world marked by the same signs of hope, but also by multiple signs of anguish. For us, Abraham is the very model of faith in God, submission of his will, and of confidence in his goodness. We believe in a different God, the one God, the one living God. Yep, you're right. It says different. Doesn't say same. If that was the Pope who was That was the Pope, my brother, or was that?
Oh yeah, this is Pope John Paul II.
Well,
Oh, wow.
maybe, just maybe, the
Ooh.
Pope has a worse understanding than Daniel, because Daniel does think he is his own Pope. He does.
I mean, again, right?
He
I wouldn't
does.
want to be accused because I was told we just can't get it. So, and the
Yeah.
word "same" never appears. So when the Pope wrote it, I guess it never appeared. I guess that is a figment of all our.
Well, maybe,
imagination.
listen, maybe the Pope was wrong and Daniel's correct.
That is a possibility. You know what? That actually, I guess that's a very
Yeah,
accurate
Daniel is
possibility.
more important than the Pope. He is. I mean, he goes on YouTube. He writes in the comment sections. Daniel definitely holds more weight than the Pope. I mean, he does.
Right.
You know. So somebody.
Yeah, and look, there's that goalpost shift.
Well,
I thought
this is where we have to. If your own Pope is saying this 20 years later, right? 20 years later, because Vatican II came out in the 60s. This was maybe 25 years later. And nobody rebuked or corrected him when he said this. No one rebuked him. Nobody said, hey, you're wrong. The cardinals didn't gather together and rebuke him.
Well, wait, I thought a minute ago nobody ever said same, and even Tim Pool could get it on the Timcast. Nobody ever said same. Now the goalpost is shifted. Now the papal address is not the catechism, but who cares? Because we all know what Lumen Gentium 25 says. But I'd like to thank you for demonstrating you can move them goalposts way down the street. Them goalposts are moved about a country mile from your original statement that was put on the screen.
That's such a
And
shame.
there's no magisterium without the Pope, right?
There is not at all. The bishops in communion with him only have authority because of him, because they're in communion with him.
Remember, Daniel understands Lumen Gentium more than the Pope does. He definitely does. You know.
Just saying. I'm just saying it's funny. Everybody keeps giving us this criteria, and then we keep showing it, and then they move them goalposts.
Well,
Nobody
remember,
ever said same, you guys.
I want to be very clear, and I'm gonna let humble servant cook. I want to be very clear. The Catholics on the comment section know more than the Pope. That is true. Right? They know more than the Pope who identified it. I'm telling you, man, I have to give it to the Orthodox. The Orthodox are correct. I have to give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Although I have to look in some of the things, but I got to give it to the Eastern Orthodox. I got to give it to them. Now I'm gonna look into what some of their writings say as well. But
they're not off the hook.
Yeah, they're not off the hook just yet.
Says the same thing.
Yeah,
and
they're not
grabbing those sources.
No, yeah, they're not off the hook just yet. We'll look into some of those eventually. But today we're talking about Catholicism. So you know, it's very
it's funny. It's so funny, right? I'm just gonna cook for it. Just about 30 seconds or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny that I'm told, right, that I wasn't listening, and he was talking about the catechism. It's actually funny because on the Timcast, the book they were referencing was actually not the catechism. That was not the book they were referencing. They were referencing the conciliar and post-conciliar documents of Vatican II. It's okay though. Again, what you either way, what you claim fails on posit because your Pope wrote it down that we believe in the same God. Please stop lying about what this church has said in the past if you don't know. I wish Catholics would just get up here and tell me they don't know. I would have a lot more respect. They'd be like, yeah, I don't know what documents you're talking about. Because every time we show the proof, there's a new random change of what happened. There's a true random, like, oh, actually, no, it doesn't say this. Okay, well, when the Pope said this and he was teaching to a bunch of young Muslims, what does that mean? I guess it means nothing because I don't want to address it, right? That's the Catholic view that we get from people like Daniel. I don't want to address it.
Now,
so let's just talk about this other document.
Rainbow, this is why this doesn't work. Let me tell you why this doesn't work. Because if Jay Dyer were to come here today and me and him were to have a discussion, he wouldn't be able to prove I serve a different God, because I would never, when he cross-examines me, we see the Trinity exactly the same. Now, he might use different kind of jargon and philosophical terms, but I am a Trinitarian. You would never hear me say that I serve the same God as Allah, because Allah and the God that I worship are two different gods when you read it contextually. If you read the Quran, if you read the Hadiths, two different gods, two different deities. Let's go there now. The Trinity is a different deity from the deity of the Muslims. The Muslims believe in one being, one person being God. We believe in one being, three persons being God. I would never say that that one being and three persons is the same God as the Muslim God, which is one being, one person. They're just not the same God in any context. So I could never say the words that we serve the same God. As a matter of fact, I would argue and say that it's not even the same God as the Jews, the Orthodox Jews. I would say that it's not even that same God. I would even argue that it's not even that same God. All right? So don't get upset, individuals that are in the chat, because you worship the devil. Okay? Because you believe that Allah is the same God as the Trinitarian God. Because you believe that you serve the same God. As this text here says, we believe in the same God. Can no one say that I believe in Allah? I believe in the Father. Let me make this very clear. I believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. One being, three persons, distinct from one another.
And you know, I heard this vicious rumor that Allah got 99 names, but Father ain't one. That's what I heard.
Yep. And there you have it. The Quran says that Allah is a father to no one, so therefore, how can he be our God? But Catholics believe that it's the same God, but how could that be?
Right.
How could that be?
And why is everybody running from what the Pope said? You notice it's like, what about this other document? Why are you running from what your Pope said? Your Pope said it. Don't you want to address what your Pope said? Or maybe we'll just talk about a different document.
I am not Catholic. You probably are. But is there any way? No. Is the Pope, your question has to be, is the Pope misrepresenting? Is the Pope? Not JP, but is the Pope. The Pope said we believe in the same God. The Pope said that.
Bingo.
The reason they're trying to defend this is because if they don't defend this, then the issue at hand becomes Catholicism is false, or you're going to have to disregard that second. It keeps going on my mind, but the second
Vatican Council.
Vatican Council. Yeah, I keep thinking of other things, but the Vatican Council. Yes, if this is false, Catholicism is false.
Yeah, if the church teaches, the reason they defend everything the church says is because of what they feel about the church. If the church teaches something that's wrong, well, it takes out a major plank in the foundation that the church, can't be wrong and all this other stuff that they say. That's why they defend all this, because really this is indefensible. Like, there's no way anyone would associate Christians and Muslims
So
believing in the same God.
Look at this Catholic pretending to be a Protestant, right? I love it when there's Protestants that pretend to. So this is what happens. Look, when there are debates or when there are discussions, there are Catholics that make accounts and they go, "Oh, I'm not even Catholic," blah blah blah, or "Oh, I'm not even Catholic. I'm a Protestant," and so Protestant lost the debate. So these guys are like their father in heaven. You know what I'm saying? The devil. Well, Allah's not a father. This is confusing because it's not the same God. But this is like Allah. You know what I'm saying? The devil. Okay. So here we go. Oh, so I see why he's upset, because he serves the devil as well. We're gonna get to you eventually, Orthodox boy. We're gonna get to the rest of to you guys. Not today. We're dealing with the Catholics, but Orthodox boy, we'll get to you eventually. Don't worry, you're gonna get smoked as well. All right. Now, according to Daniel says that if we read the rest of the quote, it actually removes the idea that they believe in the same God. So let's keep it pushing. Daniel, I don't believe that you worship the devil. Your writings say it, because you have the same God. See, if you have the same God, you're worshiping Allah. Okay? So if you're worshiping Allah and Allah is the devil, out of Sam Shamoun's admission, granted, he didn't have demons at the time, you're worshiping the devil.
How can you watch what Muslims say and read the Quran and read a Bible and actually justify this conversation? How can you do that? I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can sit there and be like, clearly you know, we see all these debates about Quran and Allah need to be guessed, no, is begotten and yada, yada, yada. And then go, but you know, it's right because the church said it.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to deal with the Orthodox soon. The reason I'm showing the Orthodox some grace is because apparently they don't believe this, but I'm going to look into some of their documents as well, and they will get the smoke. Now, this particular Satanist worshiper, I don't know if Orthodox or Satanist worshipers as well, but he said, are we reading the document wrong? Well, this is in the context of Catholicism. We see Vatican II, they said that worship the same God, or it is the same God. And here in this manuscript, 25 years later, the Pope is saying it's the same God. The Pope is saying that. So if I'm getting it wrong, so is the Pope. So
and don't forget, this is John Paul II, who people say is a more theologically sound Pope. The other day I was told that John Paul II had a much better way of writing things theologically. Well, there it is, theologically. We believe in the same God.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want?
Now, you guys got to realize that this is a spiritual affair. So when the demons come, the Catholics got the demons, they got possessed, and now the Orthodox are getting possessed as well. So this is what we have. They don't have anything to refute us. Now Daniel's trying, but Daniel's getting embarrassed very badly. You know what I'm saying? Very badly. I've never seen Daniel look this bad. Mm-hmm.
How they try to refute this is, oh well, you know, it means that, you know, that we have the same God, as in like the same, you know, essence of God, but you know, we just believe.
No. It's not the same essence, because Allah is one being, one person. The Trinity is one being, three persons. It's not even the same essence. It's a different God. It's almost like saying a demon and God are the same thing. Well, actually, no, because demons don't create things. But let's say think of any random god. Let's say a creator. Let's say the Hindu gods, right? There is one powerful Hindu god. I think it's Brida, whatever it thinks. Let me see. The most powerful Hindu god. Let's see. Okay. Let's see.
I can't remember. I thought it was Brahma, but I can't remember.
Brahma, yeah, it's one of those. In Hindu, the most complex, Shiva. I think it's Shiva. Regardless, Shiva, Brahma, whatever. Just because Shiva and Brahma are creators, that does not mean that they have the same God, or that I have the same God as they do.
What if you said you worship Baal? Can you just say you worship Baal and it means the same God? Can you do that? And by the way, we believe in the same God, right? The God who created the world and brings his creatures to their perfection. Does Allah bring creatures to perfection? I mean, at some point, you just got to help me out. Biblically speaking, can I say I believe in Baal, but and by the way, I'm monotheistic, so I only believe in Baal. Does that mean I can now claim that's the same God? Biblically speaking, I'd love for anybody who's of the apostolic churches to let me know how that works. If I say, I believe in Baal,
let me shoot this down. The essence doesn't have to do with the persons. The essence refers to the nature. Allah and the Christian God both proclaim the same essence. Well, first off, Allah doesn't exist. We'll go there, right? You can't proclaim an essence that doesn't exist. Allah is a false God that doesn't exist. Not according to Catholicism, it's the same God. Number two, Allah and the Christian God proclaim to have the same essence, right? To a capacity. But the issue is at hand is that regardless, it's two different beings. So it's two different beings, and the makeup of that Godhead is different completely. So even if you're going to try to cop out and say it's the same essence, right, and that they have similar properties, regardless, it's a different person. It isn't the same God, right? So if anything, Allah is the devil, right?
Yeah, they don't even
now,
believe
it is true.
that
Allah is the
Jesus
devil,
is God.
Yeah, Allah
So
is the devil.
how can it be the same God?
Yeah, now either Allah is the devil or he doesn't exist. Now, I personally think Allah does exist. I think Allah is a high-ranking demon. That's what I personally believe, that Allah is a high-ranking demon. That's what I think. Now, some people say Satan. It could be Satan, but imagine being a Catholic trying to defend that you worship the same God. Regardless, it's not the same God, because even if you're going to say the same essence, the personhood, the makeup of that God is completely different. We serve a triune God composed of one being and three persons who is a father. Allah is a father to no one. Well, this is what the issue is. Catholics don't know the Quran. That's the problem at hand.
Yeah. Why did God care so much? Like, why did he care? Why did he care so
Mhm.
much about his name?
Mhm.
I mean, I thought we could just use any name and it's the same God.
Yeah, I personally believe it's a high-ranking demon. Personally, I do think that Allah exists, but it exists as a high-ranking demon. That's what I think. Some people say it's Satan. Yo, can you go back to that manuscript so we
Of
can read
course.
it real quick? The one that you read?
You done with this one, right?
Yeah. Keep reading down.
Sure.
And
It is
let's see
therefore
if what
towards
is-
the,
Okay, go ahead.
it is therefore towards this God that my thought goes and that my heart rises. That's an
All right, stop
man.
right there. So Daniel told us to read the whole thing. It doesn't seem like he clarifies his previous statement. He actually doubles down. Keep reading.
It is of God himself that above all I wish to speak with you, of him because it is in him that we believe, you Muslims and we Catholics.
You see, this is what I hate about Catholics, and this is what I've advised Catholics. Shut the hell up. If you just let us read the quote that we did without reading the whole context, it might go better for you. But then you tell us to read the whole thing, and it goes worse from you. So you should have shut up, not told us to read the rest, and just rock out with the first thing, than telling us to read the rest, and it buries you further. Catholics always do this. Read the bro. I was debating a Mormon, bro, in my server, Christian King, and I gave him a quote of what's this guy's name? The prophet, the false prophet from the Mormons, Joseph Smith.
Joseph Smith, yeah.
Yeah, Joseph Smith. And I put the quote, and the guy said, "Read the full context. You're getting it wrong." I read the full context. The full context made it worse. I said, bro, listen, Mormon man, like you need to take it easy. I said, like, you need to take it easy. Like, you could have just rocked out with the original quote, but let's read it because it says that they serve the same God as Muslims and Catholics. So keep reading.
Sure. 1 second. Okay. I wish also to speak with you about human values which have their basis in God. These values which concern the blossoming of our person, as also that of our families and our societies, as well as that of the international community. The mystery of God, is it not the highest reality from which depends the very meaning which man gives to his life? And is it not the first problem that presents itself to a young person when he reflects upon the mystery of his own existence and on the values which he intends to choose in order to build his growing personality?
All right. So in context, and I'll stop right there. In context, the Pope is speaking about how Muslims and Catholics have the same God, and that as you continue reading down, that everybody, when you grow up, that same God is the God that makes you reflect in life. The Muslim God and the Catholic God. Carry on, which is the same God. Carry on.
For my part, in the Catholic Church, I bear the responsibility of the successor of Peter, the apostle chosen by Jesus to strengthen his brothers in the faith. Following the popes who succeeded one another uninterruptedly in the passage of history, I am today the Bishop of Rome, called to be among his brethren in the world, the witness of the Christian faith, and the guarantee of the unity of all members of the church. Also, it is as a believer that I come to you today. It is quite simply that I would like to give here today the witness of that which I believe, of that which I wish for the well-being of the people, my brothers, and of the people, my brothers, and of that which from experience I consider to be useful for all. First of all, I invoke the Most High, the all-powerful God who is our creator.
Stop right there. So Allah is the Most High God, the all-powerful God and creator. So there you guys got it. So we're reading this, and as we read it, as we're reading it, he says that Allah is the same God. Now, ALC, all he's doing is just being very insulting, but he's not refuting any arguments. So all he's doing is going, oh, JP is evil and blah, 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 but he's not refuting any arguments, okay? So unfortunately, we're gonna have to get this this devil worshiper out of here. All right. It feels so good to honestly call these guys devil worshipers and actually have a means to do it, because it's true, they worship the same God. Now, as you guys can see here, he just called the Muslim God the Most High God, who they do not. Now, we all believe Jesus is the Most High God. Muslims do not believe Jesus is the Most High God. They do not believe that. Just a different God. But I wonder, how am I lying? I mean, these people are really manifesting. You want to see demons? Demons are manifesting. And listen, I'm not like Nick Norelli and Sam Shamoon. I give these guys places to bark. I allow them to bark. This was Nick Norelli's channel or Sam Shamoon's channel. These guys would have been gone in 5 seconds.
Sam Shimon channel, you are definitely gone in 2
You're
seconds.
gone in 5 seconds. Nick Norelli, Sam Shamoon, you're gone in 5 seconds. Here we give people space to bark. We allow them to bark. Now, somebody said, in short, so by this logic, Christians who worship Jesus but not the Trinity don't worship the same God or serve the same God, but just a completely heresy. I would say that if you worship oneness, if you suppose you're Jesus only, and you only worship you believe that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are one being, one person, I would say that's another God. The Bible is very clear that if you don't have Father and Son, right? So the Bible makes it very clear and makes the distinguishness there, right? The distinction from believing in the oneness, as in Father, Son, Holy Spirit, or one being, one person, and the Trinity. Jesus is not the Father. Jesus is not the Holy Spirit. If Jesus is not the Father and you're saying he is the Father, that is a different God from the triune God. Very clear. All right. He who there we go. He is who denies the Father and Son. The Father and Son. So if you don't have Father and Son, you don't have the true God. Because if Jesus is the Father, then he is not a Son. And if he is the Son and the Father, he is not truly a Son or a Father. If I'm one being, and I pre-existed before, obviously before the world existed, and there's nothing else, right? Because obviously God came in eternity before any other existence. If I am the Father and the Son, and I'm the only being that is in existence, then technically speaking, I'm not truly a father or a son, because you can't be a father and a son if you're the only sole being in existence. But the Trinity makes sense, because if you're the Father in eternity's past, you have a Son in eternity's past, and that's why it's Father and Son. Okay?
Yeah, and this is what they say that oh well, we believe in the same, Father, YHWH. But yeah, the problem as we see in this verse, if you deny the Son, you don't have the Father.
Yep. Now, this clown right here is saying I'm contradicting myself. So this is what we'll do. If I'm contradicting myself, okay, hold on. We're going to give you an opportunity. Okay, let me read this. 2 men believe in the wife's baby. One guy believes in him, the other one believes, but they both believe in the same baby daddy. Their logic. All right. I didn't understand what you said, but yeah. His repeat that statement. How about you join up? I'll explain it to you. Come by. I'll explain it to you. I love to explain it to you. Okay. I love when Catholics manifest like demons. I love it because it shows their fruits. You know what I'm saying? I love it. All right. And remember, we can't do this. Okay. So is this the guy? Is this the guy right here? Let's see. This is the guy. Okay.
Yeah, but I thought
Wait. What do you mean you don't have StreamYard? Click the link, clown. What do you mean you don't have StreamYard? You don't need a software to have StreamYard. All you have to do is click the link. The heck you mean you don't have it? Analogy doesn't make sense. Now you don't have StreamYard. Get your behind in here. Get your keister in here. What are you talking about? You don't have StreamYard, clown.
Wait, but I thought the whole point was I could just say I believe in the same God, even if I get all the details wrong. So in the Bible, I could say I believed in Baal, but really I meant the true God, right?
Yeah, bro. This guy, people be talking crazy. Then you give them the link. Oh, I don't have StreamYard. Yeah,
I just want to know how that works.
Very clear. If you believe in one being and one person, that is not the triune God. The triune God is composed of 3 persons and 1 being. So if you believe in oneness, the Father is not technically Father because he had nobody to be a father to. And the Son is not a son because he technically had no father. Do you guys understand why that is a different God? You guys are ridiculous, man. Like, you guys got to stop listening to Sam Shamoon. You guys really do have to stop doing that. Like, I really do advise you, stop listening to Sam Shamoon. Like, at a certain point, you're going to have to grow up and say, yo, I'm going to read the material for myself. Amen. Now, let's keep reading the material you had on earlier, brother.
Oh, sure, I'll throw it back up there. 1 second.
Yeah, because remember that Daniel said that the context was going to offset the original statement, which said they had the same God. But as we continue to read, it's getting worse. So, this coping is crazy. You know what's funny? Nobody can do this to me as a Protestant. I'm technically not a Protestant. I'm an evangelical non-denomination. No one can do this to me. No one can ever say, oh, JP worships the devil in any context. You don't have the material. It doesn't exist. I worship the one triune God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, 3 persons, 1 being, hallelujah. And there is no other God besides him. There is no other God like him. There is no other God similar to him. There is no God who is him. That's the only God I serve, the only God that exists. There is nothing else other than that one God.
Yeah, and I want to point out that us over here on this side of the fence, for lack of a better phrase, we wouldn't even let this statement fly. We're the ones talking about it.
Bro, Muslims wouldn't let this statement fly.
They absolutely not.
Muslims make it very clear that we're polytheists.
Yeah, look, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, no, if I went in my church and the pastor even tried to say that we worship the same God as Muslims, it's going down. You already know that is not happening. It's not happening at all.
Yeah, well, look at this. We even have people that have nothing to do with this conversation manifesting. This is crazy. All the demons are manifesting. We have oneness in here, Unitarians in here. We got Orthodox in here. Everybody's manifesting. Everybody's manifesting. Everybody's.
Is it a full moon
today?
Hold on,
wait a second. Hey, look, you're making me wonder. Wait, hold on. I don't need any counsel to tell me that God is triune. What Bible did you have? Can you put that on the screen? From Daniel? What Bible? What are you talking about? Where are you getting this from? You can literally read the Bible and see that God is triune. That's another misnomer. I don't even know where that came from. You can't make this up. Is this what Catholicism does? Where you believe you can't read the Bible and understand that God is triune? Is that real? Did that really just happen, Daniel?
Yeah, the coping around here, brother, is on another level, brother. The coping is very ridiculous. Now, we do have some Catholics back over here, so I will allow the Catholics to join up. But we do have somebody that's an Orthodox, so what we'll do is that we'll allow him to come up and see why he's barking and manifesting like that. And then we'll allow the Catholics to come on. Now, I want you guys to know that the Orthodox, we will accordingly, but this is a Catholic stream. So ALC, you was barking in the comment sections. Do you have an issue? What's going on? You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, so could you answer the question I originally brought up?
I did answer it. I told you why they worship 2 different, well, I would say why they worship the same God. I told you that already.
That wasn't my question.
You said if I was possibly misreading it. The answer is no. If I was misreading it, so was the Pope. Next question. Next question.
Okay, no, I asked if you were misrepresenting it.
Nope, I am not. If I'm misrepresenting it, so is the Pope. Now, I don't know.
You're not, so like maybe they're talking about this general God that just exists.
A general God? What? The same? Our God is now general?
How do you get that?
Again, this guy's a big waste of my time because he's an Orthodox.
I just want to hear this answer real quick.
The atheists don't believe in a God.
Okay, hold on. Let's not jump to atheism.
Okay, I'm gonna leave. Go ahead. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I would run too, I guess.
Track
Nobody even attacked him.
star,
Nobody even
track
attacked him. I want
star.
to let the record show. Nobody even attacked that dude. I asked for clarity on what he said. And he was like, I'm going to leave. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's.
You know what I learned? You know what I learned from a lot of these high churches? I'm going to say this right now. They seem to believe, maybe it's because they're taught to have an ivory tower mindset, that they can say whatever they want and it'll just be accepted. I don't know where this comes from, but hey, man, some of us, like use our Bibles and stuff and like we read.
All right, well, here we have an Allah worshiper, Daniel. So, Daniel, did you say hi to Allah for me?
Well, I'm talking to him right now because
well, remember, I changed the title. I said the Catholics were my kids, but that would make me Allah. So I said, you know what? I took that. I transferred over. So you have the same God as the Muslims, correct?
Not entirely. No, I think
not entirely. So
yeah, let me explain it to you.
Just partially.
So there's only
partially
one.
So
there is
you partially. Okay, Daniel. So
There's
just,
only
I'm gonna
one,
let you go, Daniel, uninterrupted. So you partially worship the devil, not fully.
Let me answer you. In the same way, if you would have watched Tim Pool, what did he say? He understood the analogy. It's like we're at a rock concert, right? And the band's on the stage and the Trinitarians are in the front, but you have this big wall that is messing up the sound and it's blocking you from seeing who's actually on the stage and interpreting what it is correctly. That's where the Muslims are. At the end of the day, there's still only one God.
So, Daniel, what you're telling me is that these Muslims who deny the triune God, say the Trinity is pagan, call us polytheists, say Jesus isn't God, partially have the same God. And we all have partially the same God. It's just that they're not seeing it correctly, is what you're saying?
It's not partially. What it is there's only one God, but they are confused as to who that God actually is. And so they're believing in a false interpretation of who that God is.
Okay.
So the Pope, when he says they believe in the same God, why would he ever indicate something like that?
Because he's trying to point out the fact that there are no other gods that actually exist. There's only one God.
So if somebody worships the devil and they know they know that there is only one in their mind, the devil's the creator. They worship the devil. I think Allah's the devil, quite frankly. You're willing to say that is the same God?
No, I'm not saying that because if somebody's explicitly worshiping the devil, they're worshiping a creature. So that wouldn't even be in the same ballpark. But if you're worshiping
uncreated, go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead.
If you're worshiping something that you believe is uncreated, then you're one step closer to finding out who that.
So all you have.
Wait, hold on, Davey. Thank. Who? Okay, let me just. Yeah, my bad. So if I say I'm worshiping Satan, you said that because he's a creature, but that's your distinction. Why does that have to be the person who says they worship him's distinction?
Because why would you reference Satan in the first place unless you knew who Satan was? And Satan
is mentioned in multiple sources, not just the Bible.
And he's depicted as a creature in every single one of those sources.
Are you sure?
As far as I know, unless you can pull me up one that says that he is the uncreated first cause, first mover of the universe, I've never found that.
So now if my interpretation of what Satan is the same as God itself, does that mean I can say if I believe in Satan, I believe in the one God?
Suppose you did believe that Satan is the uncaused cause, creator of the universe, but instead of giving him the name Satan, you just give him the name Allah. Does that follow?
What follows is there's only one God, and you believe
but
that
it's
you're
the
worshiping
same God.
that God.
But it's the same God.
But it's the same God, though.
Well, no, your understanding of that God is incorrect.
No, but the Pope said it's the same God. So the Pope has the understanding. The Pope believes in the Trinity, and the Pope just said it's the same God. So he doesn't say it's because the different understandings. He's saying it's the same God, period. So I want you to tell me on this source where the Pope is taking what you're saying, because the Pope very explicitly said here that we believe in the same God, not partially, not anything like that. He said the same God. You're adding all these stipulations saying that, oh, no, it's partially, or they have it. No, the Pope didn't say that. He said we believe in the same God, and he never said partially. So where
Well-
are you getting
well,
this distinction from?
I didn't, hold on a moment. If I use the word partially, I misspoke. I didn't mean partially. What I'm saying is that there is only one God, and that is clear. Okay. But you
Okay.
can have a false understanding of who that God is. So this
All
is
right.
what I would say. You can say the phrase, we believe in the same God, in an objective sense, meaning there are no other gods that exist. But in a subjective sense, we don't believe in the same
Or very good. So Daniel,
Yeah.
if I deny
Mhm.
the one true God, which is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, if I'm
Yeah.
a Muslim that denies that God, says
Mhm.
Jesus is not God, which is in the writings, is it still the same God?
If you are explicitly denying that God and you have full knowledge of it, then no.
Then where does the Pope make that distinction?
In Lumen Gentium 16, the entire
No,
paragraph.
where
which
this
I read
came
it before.
25 years after. Where did the Pope make that distinction? Because now it's interpretation. I love Catholics.
Wait a
Now
minute.
this is interpretation against interpretation. I don't want to interpret it, but the Pope said it's the same God. So where are you getting this from the Pope? See, this is very easy.
Hold
Where
on.
are you getting this from?
The Pope, well, I haven't read this full quote.
But
This
why
is
did you
a-
tell me to read it fully? If you
That's
didn't read it.
because you guys are always telling me about context. So I said, if you want
But
context,
Daniel, the
let's read
context
whole
doesn't
thing.
help you. You wasted our time.
That's not a waste of time. There
It
could be
is,
things
because it
that you could,
actually gets worse for you as we read it.
not necessarily. You don't know what John Paul II actually believes.
We were reading it. It gets worse.
Wait, I'm about to say, well, it's on the screen. What
It's
are you
on the
talking
screen.
about?
We read it.
Yeah, but you can't know it just from one sentence. You
Well,
have to read the
Daniel,
whole
thank
thing.
you for giving us our answer. We're going to bring somebody else up. Stick by. All right. So Daniel said that if a Muslim denies the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, his words, not mine. We're going to bring somebody else up. Daniel, stick by. We'll bring you back later. He said if a Muslim denies the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, I asked him, are they serving the same God? He said no.
Yeah, but and that's what it's literally in their writings. How are you a Muslim if you believe that?
Yep, but the Pope said yes. So now, I think that's the man disagrees with Catholicism. But we'll bring him back later. We do have a line here. So just give me a sec, Daniel, stick by. How's it going, Carterson?
Hello.
How's it going? Are you a Catholic?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Do
Sure.
Muslims and Christians serve the same God?
Yeah.
Okay. If a Muslim denies the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit and says that Jesus is not God, are they still serving the same God?
Yeah. Can I give the argument?
Okay. How are they serving the same God if they rejected the true God?
Okay. Yeah. So just like, okay, so it's your position that Muslims worship like some other being or something, right?
They definitely don't worship the true God.
Okay. So when the way language works, we could just take terms to have a sense and a reference, or just like, I guess.
Can you spit it out, brother? I don't have all years. Spit it out, brother.
Well, I have to explain the distinction so I can give the
Spit it
argument.
out, brother. Hurry up. Just go
Okay,
ahead.
so I'll give the classic example.
Okay, thank
So
you.
Clark Kent and Superman, same person, right? Lois Lane knows Clark Kent to be.
Can we use a realistic figure, please?
I mean, I don't think it changes anything, but sure.
Okay,
We'll
so
use,
how about we use Baal and then Yahweh? Go ahead.
I don't know who Baal is. Like,
You have
You
a
don't know
Bible
who
and you
Baal-
don't know who Baal is?
All right, the devil and Jesus. Use the devil and Jesus. Go ahead.
no, I'm just gonna go with like the easy one that everybody knows. So Clark Kent, Lois Lane knows Clark Kent to be kind of this like nerdy journalist guy, and Lex Luthor knows Superman to be his like arch nemesis, a super powerful guy that he fights, right? But they both refer to the same person. So when Lex Luthor says, "Oh, this is Superman, and I'm gonna fight him," it's the same. It's the same object as Lois Lane.
Yeah,
saying,
but that
"This
would
is Clark Kent."
presuppose that Allah and Jesus are the same person in a different sense. So what you're saying is very heretical, because what you're telling me is that Allah disguises as Jesus in one sense,
No,
but then disguises as Allah in another.
No, we just say
Remember-
that when they
remember
say
what you-
God, they're using the same referent that we're using.
It
So
does-
hold on,
The
JP,
sense,
JP.
the
one second.
sense, which is the understanding, is different. Just in the case.
So if I
of-
say I serve Baal, am I using the same reference?
what do you mean you serve Baal? I don't know who Baal is. Like,
Bro, you have a Bible and you don't know who Baal is,
is that
bro?
like a demon or something?
This is tough for me. This is tough for me if you have a Bible and don't know who
just
Baal
say,
is.
just say the devil, brother. Just
Yeah, if I say I'm serving Baal, whoever you determine that to be, I'm gonna just let him decide who it is in his own mind. Can I claim that's the one true God? as the
Well,
reference.
if he has the same attributes as the one true God, which is the uncaused cause, the prime mover, creator of the universe, because that's what Muslims believe about.
The only problem is God Himself disagrees with you in the Bible, sir.
I'm not sure what you mean. I'm just saying, like,
No. I'm gonna help you out. Don't worry. I got you. See, because I understand you don't know what I mean. So actually, God does care how you identify Him. So right. So if we go to the Bible, you'll see that literally God does care. So you can't just say, "Yeah, I'm serving Baal," and then claim it's the one true God. It doesn't work. JP, if I could please,
Yeah, absolutely.
So so actually you can't just say like I claim something and therefore it is that other referent. It doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, if you're referring,
I'm not picking the whole time out. One second before you even answer. Rainbow, I'm not picking on his knowledge. I thought Baal was like a commonly understood biblical entity. So I apologize if I seem like I'm
Bow. Okay. I didn't know what you meant by Baal. I'm used to
there's two pronunciations, but carry on.
Yeah, that was a mistake. But yeah, but it's
No
just
worries.
to say that when Muslims say, "Oh, I worship the one true God," there's only one true God. So
Okay,
but could I say I serve Baal? Hold on. Can I say I serve Baal and be referring to the one true God?
Well, no, because Baal is understood in the context of the Bible, and in the Bible, he's not the one true God. So it's like
but in their what about the Israelites context? I have the Bible. If anybody in ancient times said they served Baal, could they claim it was the one true God? Don't look at my context. We're talking about for all time, right? So anybody in ancient time, if they said I serve Baal, that's the one true God. Could they be referring as the one true God as the reference?
And they believe Baal was the creator. They believe that Baal was God. So
they believe Baal was God. Like
yes,
yeah,
they did.
Believe that he was uncaused.
They believe Baal was God. I mean,
he was the one true God.
Hold on, let me just like make sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, if they attributed him the same attributes we attribute to God as the Muslims and so as the Jews, I mean, I guess you can make that argument. But
so in the I just want to make sure I got this.
Y'all heard what he said.
This is why. So you can make the argument that anybody in the
word
God
picks
hold on, brother. I'm not trying to cut you off. Anybody in the ancient world could claim they serve Baal, and the one true God is the reference. Is that correct?
No, you said if they attributed the one true God like
yes,
to him,
if they are attributing these attributes to Baal. I'm saying though, if I say Baal with the attributes in which you have claimed that the one true God has, right, which we agree on, right, creative, all that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Could you say I serve Baal and be referring to the one true God?
Well, if you give it that, I mean, it's like just saying I worship God, but you give him a different name.
No. I want to be very clear. I serve Baal, and then you could say the referent is the one true God. Is that something that can occur?
If Baal is understood in a different sense, but he had the same attributes, then yeah, that's the same thing the Muslims do.
All right. So there you guys heard it. This man
but you guys don't really have like an argument.
Wait. Hold on. I'll bring you back up. I just want to clarify. This man just said that if the Jews of the time believed that Baal was a creator and had the same properties as the Most High God, that is the same God. So did you guys hear what he said? That is the same God, okay, as the God that we worship. That is insane.
Yo, I'm actually,
even if you have a different name,
I'm actually at a loss for my bad, CK. I'm just at a loss for words. I'll let somebody else be. I'm
but I'm like, do you guys have like an argument rather than just saying like, oh,
well, in your analogy, how does it work? Is Jesus disguising as Allah, or Allah disguising as Jesus?
No one's disguising as anything. Argument. It's just to say that when Muslims refer to God,
so brother, if you want an argument, I'll make a simple argument. If you want an argument, I'll make an argument. Okay. Now you're a Baal worshiper and an Allah worshiper, so this is insane. And theoretically speaking, anybody can create their own God in their imagination, create a cult, say that God in their imagination is the true God. And if that God created all things and he was uncaused, Catholics would have to say that individual believes in the same God as Catholics. That's crazy. That is insane. But let me respond to, let me give him an argument. How do you serve the same God as the Muslims if the Muslims reject your God and say that their God is the true God? So you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Wait, just because Wait, what do you mean they reject? And they reject the Trinity, but that's because they have a
Yes, they
different
reject
sense.
the Trinity and
Yeah,
say
that's
that
the
we serve,
that's
that we believe in 3 gods.
yeah, that's the sense distinction. They
Okay.
understand God to
No,
be
no.
someone
They said,
Unitarian.
no, they say we believe in 3 gods. They say we believe in 1 God.
That doesn't make it true.
Is 1 God the same as 3 gods?
They can say whatever they want. It doesn't necessitate.
Wait, so they can say whatever they want.
So it's not the same as
So
Trinity.
check this out. Now I want you guys to be very clear. A Muslim can say we worship 3 gods. They can deny that God. They can blaspheme that God, which they do. And he would still say that it's the same God. Interesting. So you believe. So let me get this very clear. So now we're getting these.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, but let
Okay,
me ask
so wait.
ask me a question.
Okay, so when someone says I worship the creator of the universe, which being is being picked out by that predicate?
If they declare that being to be Baal, not the one true God.
When you say I worship the creator of the universe, which being is being picked out?
So
What if you name that? Hold on. In his
The name is
example,
irrelevant.
the name is not irrelevant, sir. So if I say I worship Satan as the one true creator, am I referencing the one true God?
That's like someone giving you a nickname and then you saying that.
So Satan's now a nickname.
No. Just listen. That's
I
like
have been listening.
If I call JP the Christian King, would he become the Christian King, or would he still be JP?
If I said I worship Satan, would the one true God of the Bible be the referent?
No, I think you're confused.
No, I'm not confused.
No, because look, if someone says I worship the creator of the universe, which we know to be one, what are they referring to?
Well, what if I refer to that creator of the universe, the one, as Satan?
You can give it any name you want.
I can refer to God as any name I want.
No, you shouldn't. But I'm saying, like, the point is that object, it's one object. It's the creator.
So if I say I worship Satan as the one creator of the universe, I now just reference the one true God?
There's one creator of the universe.
Well, you didn't answer my question. If I say I worship Satan as the creator of the universe, are you saying I said I worship?
Hold on.
Yo, it's wild, bro. This is unreal.
Look, brother, look. This is how this works. You're asked a question, you answer the question. Don't deflect. Humble servant, ask him the question again. Maybe he didn't.
If I say I worship Satan as the one true creator of the universe, am I referring to one true God?
Well, I don't know what's meant by Satan, because Satan.
All right. I think that's strike 2. That's strike 2. All right. That's strike 2. All right. You're acting really, really, really silly. So we're gonna give you one more time, okay? Humble servant, ask the question very clear. Clarify the question for him. He's not understanding.
If I say I worship Satan or Baal as the one true creator of the universe, am I referring to the one true God of the Bible?
I don't understand the question.
Yo, JP, come on.
All right. Brother, if you're not understanding, I can't do nothing for you, my brother. I think that's very, very clear. I'll try to rephrase it. If he refers to the uncreated God as Baal and Satan, okay, is that the one true God?
It would be a misnomer given that he uses the false name, but it would still be the same reference. So,
okay, so you can call the God of the Bible Satan and say that is the one true
you'd be
God.
wrong.
Let me finish. You can call the one true God of the Bible Satan as long as you believe that Satan is the creator of the universe. Then you would say it's the same God.
I said it's the same reference.
No. The same God.
It's just the same as saying like Muslims believe.
Brother, answer my question, please. I'm going to ask you again, brother. Please stop. It's very clear. And maybe you're not understanding. If I say that the creator of the universe is Satan, because I believe that Satan or Baal, because Baal is more realistic, Baal, if I believe that Baal, which people did in the Bible, is the creator of all things, or there are many, many heresies and many false beliefs, and many people, there's all kinds of heresies, but we'll go with Baal, who was the devil, and they believed it was a creator. If I say that Baal is the creator of the universe, and I say that Baal created the universe, and that I believe that he made all things, he is the supreme God, Baal. Are you saying that that is the same God that you worship?
All right, can I answer? All right,
Yes.
I'm just gonna give an example, and the answer will be implicit. So, like I said, Lois Lane, if she's
All right. Goodbye. Have a nice day. All right. This is ridiculous. He's not giving me an answer. I really don't understand. How much more clear? The answer is this. Yes. Yes. If he's to be consistent, Baal is the one true God. Because he believes that as long as you believe that that God is the creator of the universe, it is the same God, regardless of how you see that God. So
You
now
got
I
this
have one question.
superhero analogy from the Christian capturing
Okay, I have one
Christianity
more
video.
question, brother. Don't leave. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. And then we're going to continue on with the program. We'll add people. According to Hinduism, the supreme God that created all gods and created the universe is Brahman. He is the supreme God. And from him, all the false gods proceed after him. But he is the creator of all things. Would you say that the Hindu god Brahman, who created the universe, who is the supreme God to Hindus, would you say that that is the same God as your God?
so wait, aren't they polytheists?
Not in a sense. So it gets complicated because they believe that the other gods are part of the beinghood of the main God. So they believe that there's multiplicity in personhood within the one supreme God. So essentially, they believe in lesser deities, and then there's the supreme deity that made all things. So if you were to ask a Hindu, do you believe in a creator of the universe, a supreme God? If you were to ask that to a Hindu, they will say yes. So if you ask a Hindu if they believe in the one true supreme God, they can actually answer the question and say, yes, I believe in the one and true supreme God who created all other things. Would you say that Hindus have the same God?
If that was the case, then you'd have to say yes, but they would just have the false sense. They would just have a false understanding.
Got it. So, all right. So, by your admission, Catholics worship the same God as Brahman. Catholics worship the same God as Muslims, and they worship the same God as Baal.
Well, I don't think the Baalites believe that, but
Mhm.
yeah, if there's one true God and we worship the one true God, then yeah, we all worship the one true God. But
Okay,
it doesn't.
got it.
That has
So,
nothing to do with like
yeah, so you
salvation
worship
or
the same God as pagans.
pagans or polytheists.
We can just call the one true God whatever we want.
Yeah, just be a misnomer. I mean, I could call you somebody else, but it doesn't make you somebody else. So it's just
That also you technically, I don't know if that mean you were calling me, but so for example, if I could just call the one true God like anything and it just automatically refers to the one true God, can I make any claim about the one true God and it automatically refers to the one true God? Because
yeah,
this referent seems to be very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's fixed.
Yeah,
It's
so
like-
technically speaking,
fixed reference.
anybody can make up any God they want, say that they created the universe, and then according to this man, he says it's the same.
Well,
God.
like yeah, if they have like the same attributes, if it's the God of Abraham, stuff like that, but it's not just like completely arbitrary.
Yeah, so there you have it, fellas. There you have it. So this guy believes in the same God as Allah. When Muslims reject the true God and what he is, all right, because we know God is composed of three persons, one being, and here you're saying that Muslims who reject the three persons and one being serve the same God when the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Let me ask you a question. Jesus created all things. The Bible says that in First Colossians, in the book of Colossians, that Jesus created all things. Do Muslims believe that Jesus created all things?
I don't think so.
If they don't believe Jesus created all things and Jesus is the creator, how is it the same God?
What do you mean? Like, oh, if they don't believe that about him? I mean,
Yeah, because you referenced that as long as you believe that
Okay,
this
yeah.
particular being is the creator, that as long as this particular being is the creator, that is the same God. But they don't say that Jesus is the creator.
Okay, yeah.
They deny it.
Yeah, so what was I gonna say? Yeah. So Lex Luthor doesn't think Superman's like super weak.
No,
Reporter.
brother. I'm talking to you
Right.
about real life examples.
No, I'm giving you I'm giving you.
But
the
it doesn't
example.
work because
The
Lex
analogy
Luthor and
definitely
Superman are the same person. Like
What?
they're the same
No.
person. They're the same essence, right?
No.
Excuse me, Superman and Clark Kent are the same person.
Yes, that's the point.
Yes, but what I'm simply saying is
But Lex
that
Luthor
the
and-
God of Allah, the God of Muslims, and the God of Christianity are not the same.
Yeah, not only that, but the Superman Clark Kent example is also not the same because what each is saying is true in both cases. If somebody says Clark Kent, well, actually, it's not true, but their understanding of it is what you're trying to convey is true. So if somebody says Clark Kent wears glasses,
no. I'm saying
glasses.
their understanding is different, but it's still false. But the reference the same. So Muslims have a different understanding, but they're still referring to the
brother,
same
but
being.
it doesn't work because
No, how does it
brother,
not
let me
hold?
tell you why it doesn't work. Superman and Clark Kent are the same person.
Yes.
They could get something false, but nevertheless, they're the same person.
Mhm.
That presupposes that the supreme God is the same person and is being misunderstood in that particular fashion. And being misunderstood simply removes the idea that he's a different God in another religion. Whereas when Muslims view God as Allah, and they say that Jesus is not God, and they say that Jesus is a mere prophet, it is not the same God by definition. It is not. So you have to make all these analogies, all these examples. Jesus is the creator. Muslims deny that. They deny that. They reject Jesus. They reject that God is a father. They reject that he's a father. They reject that he's a son. So if they reject that, how could we say it's the same God? Just because of their lack of understanding. You do know that the Bible speaks of people who deny the one true God. And if they deny the one true God, it doesn't say that perhaps there's another example of where they do serve the true God when they actually don't.
Okay, so yeah. So you're saying it's because they're intentionally rejecting
Can you
it?
show me a biblical example of somebody that serves an identified God and the Bible categorizes it as serving
the same referent?
Yeah, I would just say St. Paul in Acts 17. Talking to the pagans.
No, that doesn't work because that's an unidentified God.
You said what? You just said
Acts 17 doesn't work because they didn't know. Right? Allah is an identified God.
So you're saying like intentionally rejection, like until
correct.
Correct.
If you intentionally reject the triune God, and then you say, hey, I'm going to worship Allah because that is the true God. How could then you say it's the same God when they rejected the true God?
Lois Lane can reject that Clark Kent is Superman, but it doesn't negate the fact that
So
he's
who's
Superman.
Clark Kent? Jesus or Allah?
It's the same person. It's the same being. Is the point? That's like
no, it's
but it's absolutely not. One doesn't beget nor is begotten. Like it's literally not the same being at all.
Yeah, they give
Quran
different
says,
attributes, but it's still the same being.
No,
Clark Kent is Superman if he takes off his glasses. If Allah takes off his glasses, does he become Yahweh?
I don't understand the question.
Oh my God, I cannot, man. This is incredible,
all right.
man.
If Allah, you said, you gave your analogy on Superman. If Allah takes off his Clark Kent glasses, if Allah takes it off, is Allah then Yahweh?
I'm honestly not sure what's being asked here. Like,
yo, man, please, JP, please, JP,
like
please.
glasses. Like, I don't know.
Your analogy, yours, not our analogy. Your analogy, you made this analogy. You said that when Clark Kent takes off his glasses, he's Superman. Therefore, that is a reason why Muslims serve the same God as Catholics. So he just asked if Allah, who is Yahweh, takes off his glasses, is he now Yahweh?
I never said anything about taking off glasses. That was the guy to my right.
this is bro. These guys are either playing stupid. I don't know what's
Bro,
going
this is
on.
this is the fruit. This is the fruits, man. This is the fruit.
This
This is
yeah,
the fruits,
bro.
bro. I'm with the comment. It's time to move on, bro. I've literally asked multiple questions, and nothing I say is clear. Everything I say is the most foggy, muddy, questionable. Like I can't, man. I can't. I'm a mute.
If it's not the glasses, how does Allah switch to Yahweh then?
Thank you. I was waiting for that example, but he clearly doesn't understand what I'm asking.
Yep. It is insane because in reality, this is sad. He was basically saying that it's the same person, just with different a different kind of identity in a sense. Where if somebody calls Clark Kent, they're correct because Superman is still Superman. So you're still addressing an attribute of the person because the person's still Superman. So if I call him Superman, I'm correct. If I call him Clark Kent, I'm correct because he's two identities within the one personhood of Superman and Clark Kent. So then humble servant said, okay, so Allah is technically Yahweh because Allah is simply wearing the Clark Kent outfit, and people are saying that he's the supreme God. Okay, he's the supreme God, but in actuality, he's still Yahweh because he's the same God. So if Clark Kent removes the glass, if Allah removes the glasses, is he actually Yahweh? And he didn't understand the question. So and it was his analogy. So I really don't understand. I don't understand what this guy's trying to say here. All right. We got one more here. How's it going, Otis?
What's going on, guys?
Yeah.
Trying to get my voice back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful. You're going to be accused of something because you're talking to Protestants. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I didn't tell JP about that yet.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
When I did that Intercession of Saints video with Nick, there was a Catholic guy. I think he's Catholic. I know he's apostolic. I'm not going to say who he is, but he watched the video, and I said to Nick, Nick, tell me if my logic's dumb here. Right? I just said to Nick, and then the guy was reviewing the video on his own live stream, and he's like, yeah, your logic is dumb there. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. I was like, I'm literally defending a position that you hold. But then what kind of peed me off a little bit is that he said I denied that the sacraments save, when I literally believe water baptism saves and the Eucharist saves.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
HHS got a good laugh for that one. He's like, we've literally discussed sacraments dozens of times.
Publicly and behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, wild. Anyways, this topic is really, really, really complicated because you guys know I know JP knows my position on this. I don't know about Christian King and HHS. I mean, Allah is a demon, right? But there's many ways you could look at this. It's complicated. There's nuance to it because there are Arabic-speaking Christians that call the Trinity Allah.
No. Let me be very clear, Otis. I'm not specifically speaking about the general name of Allah, right? Because I can call God Dios in Spanish, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Muslim Allah, the Quranic Allah. All right. So the God of the Muslims. So let me just be very clear.
Well, I would agree with you guys that we don't worship the same God, but to, add some nuance to the Catholic position, the way they see it is like if a oneness heretic says they believe, like if you're going to lunch with a oneness heretic and an atheist comes up to you and asks, do you guys believe in the same God? I mean, all of us would say no, but the oneness heretic could be like, well, or both of us would answer, we believe in the God of the Bible, but we understand the God of the Bible in two different ways. We think they're heretics, they think we're heretics, but we're answering the same way. Yes, we believe in the God of the Bible. if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
let me read these super chats real quick.
yeah, go
Pope,
ahead.
Islam is not a religion of redemption. There is no room from the cross and the resurrection. For this reason, not even the pretense of the dialogue is possible with Muslims on the basis of the same religious language.
I agree.
Pope Paul was an ecumenical. Let's not conflate.
What's that got to do with the Pope's what he said? I don't care what you label him as. He still wrote it down and said it, and he's the Pope of Roman Catholicism at
Yeah,
that time.
what he's basically trying to say is that the Pope said the religion was false, but that's it. So I'm not disputing that Catholics believe Islam is false. But what I am saying is that it's not the same God, right? So we got to deal with the person. It's just not. We believe in a Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. We believe Jesus created the universe. They deny Jesus, all these things. It's very complicated. They say that we believe in three gods, all of these things. So it's just not objectively, it's not the same God. And technically speaking, the guy that was just here, he said that Baal is the one true God. The devil can be the one true God. And theoretically, if I create my own God, create a false church, a false church, say that God created the universe, that is also the same God.
Also, it would logically follow that you can give God any attribute following the creator of all things, because Allah is counter to the God of the Bible. Literally, he doesn't love you till you love him. He's a father to no one. He begets no, he's begotten. But just because you claim, not you, Otis, the general claim, well, they say they worship the one true God, so therefore it's the same God. That means I can just say that about any being or entity and then have any other set of standards or beliefs or associations with that entity, and it's good to go under this logic. That doesn't make any sense. I could say, I believe Jim Bob Thorne, the Ancient One, is the one true God who created all things, yet he doesn't beget or is begotten, and I could just a bunch of crazy attributes, but I could just, it must be the same God.
I mean,
if it's a false God, it's not the same God.
Bingo.
Yeah. Now I want to show you guys something real quick, and this destroys their argument. And this is what we're going to pull up. All right. So check this out right here. Okay, now check this out. And Elijah came near to all the people and said, how long would you go limping between two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. So notice what it's saying. God. If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, then follow him. And the people did not answer a word. So why didn't Elijah say, hey, we serve the same God, or it's the same God, or
you're referring to the same God, you just don't know it. You said all these things.
Change your mindset of the God that you serve, and if you change the mindset of the God that you already serve, then you're good. But unfortunately, this doesn't give that option. In other words, if the Lord is God, follow him. But if Allah is God, then you follow him. Okay? So there you have it. You know what I'm saying? There you have it. And very clearly, right? Very, very clearly. Now, I am sure that people thought Baal was the creator. I am sure. Now, Payne, you've been siding with me a lot, Payne. Are you still a Catholic? Because this guy, or either he's trolling, but this man's been agreeing with me the whole time. Either he's probably trolling. But last I checked, he was a Catholic unless he converted. He's really throwing me off here. This guy's agreeing with all my comments. So I don't know if he's trolling, or I don't know if he's not a Catholic anymore. Maybe he converted to Orthodox or something. But regardless, so very clearly,
I mean, they could only do one thing, either renounce Catholicism or keep trying to jump through these hoops.
Yeah. If Payne is Orthodox, this makes sense. If he's a Catholic,
I thought he was Orthodox. Am I wrong?
I thought he was Catholic.
Yeah, I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Orthodox say the same thing.
Like I was saying
I got
before,
the receipts.
I'm just trying to add some nuance to this. If you have a modalist and a Trinitarian and they're at they're at dinner and someone comes up to them and says, "What God do you believe in?" We'd say, "Oh, the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob." But then I agree with you guys where I would say, but he understands God wrong and he reads the scriptures wrong and he's not a Trinitarian. Therefore, he doesn't believe in the same God. So there's nuance.
Yeah, but there's a problem here in your example. If me and a Muslim were sitting at a table, I would say I believe in the God of the Bible. He would say my Bible's corrupted. He believes in the God of the Quran.
No, I agree. But we'll use that example. If HHS is at lunch with his Muslim friend and they said, "What God do you believe in?"
Real quick, brother. Now, I wouldn't say that I serve the same God as oneness, but let me be very clear here. But I get what you're saying, but it's not the same God. I understand it. Now, let me read
I'm not saying it's the same God. I'm saying that there's a nuance to. I'm trying to give the Catholic position the benefit of the doubt, where they don't.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that still it would be two different gods at that point. But because the Bible makes it very clear. But let me let you cook in a bit. Let me read this.
Yeah, go ahead.
And if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your father served or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me, for my house.
But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Wait a minute.
In front of my house.
Wait a minute. They were serving the Lord all along because it's the same God. Why didn't he say, hey, change your mindset of the same God that you already serve, right? Now, notice that people use Acts 17, but Acts 17 was of an identified God, not an identified God as Baal and all these things. But it gets worse. Now, I always say Catholics hate the Bible. That's not the case for many other people, but I say it by and large. Let me see. Okay. Now, I would bring up Matthew 6:24, but then they would say, hey, that it's only one master in their mind. All right. Now, I believe Allah's the devil, but with that presupposition, because I think Romans chapter 1, verse 21 and 25 says they exchanged the truth for God for a lie and worship and serve the creature rather than the creator. Now, I do believe Allah is a creature because I think Allah is the devil, but a lot of people don't believe that. So, we leave that there.
Yeah, I don't understand how, as a person who's read the Quran, because Otis, I think, has read more than me, which is not hard to do. But, I'm just saying he's not too long ago, we had a story about him cutting down that barbershop with his Quranic breakdown. So I don't understand how you can, I don't understand how you can take the Bible, what it says, and then take the Quran for what it says, and then say, actually, we serve the same God as the reference. I don't know how you can do that.
Yeah, well, it's like what I'm saying. I mean, if you ask the Pope privately, you say to the Pope, you use the logic. Is Jesus God? Yes. Do the Muslims believe Jesus God? No. Do we worship the same God? No. But in the sense, do we believe in the God of Abraham? Yes. Do they claim to believe in the God of Abraham? Yes. So you can acknowledge that they claim to believe in the God of Abraham.
Yeah, but Otis, if you claim to believe something, is it objectively true, right? They can claim to believe in the God of Abraham, but they don't believe in the God of Abraham.
No, I agree with you. They don't.
So that's what it is. Claims don't make it objectively true. So when Catholics say we worship the same God, just because Muslims say, hey, we worship the same God, or no, they don't say that, excuse me. We worship the God of Abraham. You say, oh, well, I guess we serve the same God. Not so fast. If you read their literature, the literature would suggest that it's not the same God.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel's still in the back if you wanted him to come back up.
Yeah, we can just, there's a couple of other more people and then we can bring him back up. So I told him I'll bring him back up. So just give me 1 second. There are some Catholics that are asking for the link. So I pinned the link on my channel. If you want to pin the link on your channel, you can. Brother humble servant or Christian King. If there's anybody that wants to join, pin the link. I'll open it up to anybody. And Daniel, I will add you back on shortly. So just give me some time, Daniel. Otis, anything else you want to say? I will add you back shortly, Otis. I just want to go and
you want to do one at a time tonight, huh?
No, not just tonight, but I've been doing it more organized. So when I do have a guest, I'll put time and things like that. So I've been doing that kind of just to get it more organized. And then typically towards the end, I'll just let everybody come in. So I'm just trying to do it like that. But there's another person that joined. There's another person that joined. So let me
I could either
stick
mute
around.
up or you could boot me, or it doesn't matter to me.
No, yeah, stick around. I will bring you back. Okay, just stick around. All right, don't go nowhere, or I will text you. ALC is back. I have no idea why, but you have to wait in line. How's it going, just there?
I'm doing good. I'm fine. And you?
I'm all right. What are you, a Muslim?
I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic.
No problem. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
So before doing anything, I want to preface that in Vatican II, it is only referring to the Abrahamic religions. That is the religions that claim to worship the same God as the patriarchs.
Okay.
Abraham,
Just there. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If I create my own religion,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's say that I create a religion where I call God in my let's say I create the religion of JPism, okay?
Okay.
And in my religion, I have a God named Batman. Okay, since we talked about Superman, let's just talk about Batman now. And Batman is the creator of the universe. Batman created the universe. He created all things. He's the uncaused cause that caused everything.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say you have the same God as me if I simply said it's like the Abrahamic religion is Batman? He created all things. Would you say it's the same God just because I claimed it's the Abrahamic religion?
So I'll say you're claiming that the Abraham and Isaac also worship that supposed Batman. You'll be claiming that in your religion?
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll say you're trying to refer to the same thing, but you're doing it in the wrong way.
Okay, so very good. Now we're progressing. This is very beautiful. So now you said that we're viewing it the wrong way. Okay, now I see a bunch of Catholics joining, so I will allow all of you guys to join. I promise. Okay. Just there. Thank you for being very honest. Okay, this is a good guy right here. I could already tell the vibes. Now, just there, I'm going to ask you a follow-up question.
Sure.
You just said that if the people of old followed this God, then yes. Do you believe that the people in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, well, let's stay away from the New Testament. Do you believe that people in the Old Testament followed Allah? Do you believe that?
The Allah described in the Quran, no.
Okay. So if they didn't follow the Allah described in the Quran, then how can you say that the God of the Old Testament is the same God of the Quran?
Yeah, like I was saying, the Muslim and the Jews or Christians, they will try to refer to the same thing, but the Muslim will do it in a very wrong way because they're denying the sun.
But it's not just viewing it in a wrong way. It's making a person, it's literally giving personhood. It's literally giving it characteristics. There are prophets and there are attributes and things that they do. So where's the line where we can say that somebody's serving a demon and not actually serving the true God? Because I believe Allah is the devil and I believe that Allah is Satan. But you can't really say that. So where's the line where you could say that that's false? Now, I mentioned a couple of biblical passages, and I'm going to bring these up. And we got like 10 Catholics here, but Daniel, I promise I will bring you in. Okay? I'm a man of my word. So just give me some time here. Okay. All right, where the heck are we? All right, now check this out. This is in the Old Testament. And Elijah came near to all the people and said, how long will you go limping between two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. Okay. Now, we can look at the Greek for this. Now, can you real quick, brother, humble servant, this is your field.
You don't need to go that far.
Hold on just there. Go on the concordance real quick, humble servant. Pull up 1 Kings 18:25 and look at what Lord and God means there. Well, well, look up God, and
Yeah, I'll get
then
it up. One
when
second.
you look up God, it is comparing two things, which is saying that they saw Baal as the way that they saw the true God, who is Yahweh. So that's the way that they saw Baal, that way. The way that the Jews saw the true God, the Lord God, the way that the Jews saw him here, right? Specifically Elijah, that is how they viewed Baal. That's how they viewed him. Okay? So the text here says, if the Lord is God, if he's God, who is God according to Elijah? Yahweh. Follow him. But if Baal, right, then follow him. Okay? So here he's not saying that it's the same God or that it's a different mindset, but he's making it clear that there's a distinction and it's two different gods, two different deities, who one is seeing as the true God, but the heretics are seeing Baal as Yahweh because they believe he's just as powerful as Yahweh, hence the competition with the fire. But Elijah doesn't say it's the same God. He makes the distinction between the two and he tells them which to follow. So check this out. Now I see some Catholics in the back manifesting. Please,
The passage is clear. You don't need to. I agree with all what you just said. Like, there's no.
No, wait, hold on. We're gonna give you the Hebrew.
Yes,
All right, go ahead. Where's God here?
Oh, Yahweh, you see it right there, middle right here.
Right here. Oh, brother, I'm going blind here. Okay, so look, Yahweh.
Literally in the middle, yeah.
Okay, so there you go. It says Yahweh. Okay. So they viewed their false God as Yahweh. But notice there's a distinction, and he says you have to pick one, not the other, and he doesn't say they're the same God. What would your explanation be to this?
Okay, I think I didn't get the 1 point. So, are
You,
the worshippers of?
you didn't understand?
I said the last. I said the last one that you were the last one. So, are you saying that the worshippers
Wait,
of?
did you not understand everything I said? If you
No,
didn't,
understand everything up until the Yahweh part. So, are you saying the worshippers of Baal are saying that Baal is Yahweh?
they're worshiping Baal as somebody equal to Yahweh.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so they believe Baal is what Yahweh is. Because Elijah is saying that his Lord is God, which is Yahweh. But you believe that Baal is that God. So then you choose who you follow. There's a distinction here. But he doesn't say that they're both Yahweh or that they're both the same God. But he makes a distinction and he tells them choose who to follow between the two.
Okay.
If you don't know, brother, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll go on.
No, I like I said, like, yeah, I agree. Like in this passage, like the Israelites were going against the Baal worshippers, so they're already confronting each other. So by definition, it cannot be the same thing. Yeah,
Well, then if it's not the same thing, then your religion is false. Because your religion would say that it's the same God. Because they believe that Baal was everything that Yahweh was.
but they didn't believe that. Let's say the Israelites were believing in Baal. They know that the Israelites are believing in a different thing, and that Baal is a
Yes,
different thing, and they were
correct.
against each other.
Just how the Catholics know that Muslims is a different thing in a sense, but they say it's the same God. So
that's why I say for Muslims, for Muslims are trying to refer to the one that Abraham and Isaac worship, which is why I said the document precisely focuses on that because the Muslims are trying to refer to the same God of Abraham. Like the Baal worshippers, they were denying the Israelites.
That's the problem. It's not. You understand? So what you're saying is that Muslims are attributing Allah as the God that the Israelites of old worshipped, but it's not, because the Israelites didn't worship Allah. They didn't.
Yes. So yeah, the sense will be different, but the reference will be the same.
It's not the same because it's not the God they worship. Do you understand that if it's not the God that they worship, it's a different God? It's not the God they worship, brother. So it's not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and those fellas. Because by default, it is a different God. And
Matter
very clearly, there was a Catholic that argued earlier. Now, he was kind of silly. I would have to say, quite frankly, he was probably even stupid. But he argued and said that if you believe any God is the creator of the universe, the supreme God, that you can call that God the same God that we serve. But here there's an example where that refutes that.
Nah, that's you cannot just say, oh, you cannot just say you believe that the Lord
Okay.
is the creator of the universe. You cannot just say that.
All right. Well, brother, so thank you for coming in. We're going to open up the panels for everybody momentarily. All right, brother?
Okay, okay.
All right, thank you. Don't go anywhere. We're going to open it up, okay? Don't go anywhere. Catholics, I see you guys are here, so don't go anywhere. All right. I think this text is very, very clear. At the very least, it dismisses the idea that just because you believe in a supreme God, that God is the same God. Elijah made it very clear here.
Yeah, it's clear all through the Bible. You just cannot claim any God's the one true God. Just because you say it is doesn't make it so.
Yeah.
And this is especially problematic in Islam because we have what they say about their God, and the characteristics are fundamentally different. You cannot just associate anything with the one true God. I cannot say that I believe in the jelly bean fiend as the one true God, and I believe he created everything. And as far as I know, he holds the faith of Abraham, and therefore the rest is history. Like it doesn't work like that.
All right, Christian King, are you live right now, brother?
Yeah.
All right. Stay live. Everybody stay where they're at. I'm going to transfer everybody to you because I've been here an hour 45. So I'm going to stay for the duration of 2-hour mark, which is another 16 minutes. But I do want to bless Brother Christian King's platform. So everybody stay where you're at. If you're here, don't move nowhere. And we're going to go to the Christian King's panel. And the next panel that we're going to do a dual cast, it would be Humble Servant. So Humble Servant will be next when we figure out what topic. But where are we going? Christian King Apologetics or the regular Christian King?
Do the apologetics.
The Christian King Apologetics? All right. Hold on. All right, so Catholics that are backstage, I'm going to allow you guys to cook. So everybody that's watching, don't leave. If you're backstage, Catholics do not leave. Every Catholic stay put. Okay? Catholics stay put. All right? Facts only. I'm going to make some room for you, my brother. I'm going to make some room for you, okay? Don't worry, my brother. I'm going to make some room for you. All right. So Catholics, nobody leave the studio. I'm going to end the live stream, but nobody leave because everybody that clicked this link you're still going to be good. We're just going.
If you're on my channel, the stream will end, and that'll be that. So you can go over to the Christian King Apologetics and watch the rest. Because like JP, I'm gonna try to hang out for as long as I can, but I'll likely need to take a break because I've been going for a little while.
No, yeah, this brother already did a stream today. This will be pretty much
I'm doing like 4 or 5 hours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we got to let the brother breathe. All right. All right, everybody that's watching, drop a like. Everybody that's watching, drop a like. We're going to end the stream and we're going to bring everybody in the panel up. So we'll have a conversation. So everybody drop a like on this channel. And if you don't know where we're going to the Christian King Apologetics channel. Let me send you guys the link. You alone. If but a drop of your virgin milk were to rain on me, it'll give me life. All right. This is the link. Right here. I'll be ending the stream right now. Okay. Man, who would have thought, man? I didn't think Catholics were like this, man. All right. Nobody